Jerry Shepherd, PestCemetery.com, the Bug Doctor. I want to talk to you today about spraying around people who have oxygen. They wear the oxygen masks and breathe, helps them breathe and enjoy their lives a little better. Sometimes they have tanks like these strapped to them. Other times it's a candelar and it's a long hose that goes to a machine and that pumps in the oxygen. Well, these people get bugs too, and we need to treat them. So how do we do that safely? Number one, first thing we did for this particular case is to have the lady gone for a couple of hours while we do the treatment and after we do the treatment. So everything's safe. She's got the tanks all around the house and that oxygen machine. Last year in our business, we had a man who would never leave, constantly smoked cigarettes and whatnot. One day we went to call him to schedule and his house had blown up because he was smoking too close to the oxygen. So for safety reasons in that regard, you want to take every precaution you can, but also for their health with pesticides. You don't need them breathing in the good air with any kind of particles that are in the air as well. So let's go inside and I'll show you a few things I'm going to do. Inside we find that we have a cat, and that brings us to our second problem that this lady has is fleas. So the cat issue had to be addressed. The cat, the dog, whatever it is, has to be treated. Otherwise, I don't even want to take the job. They have to be treated with Advantage, Advantix, Top Spot, whatever that it takes to treat the animal to get that other section of fleas that my treatment will never get. So everything's up off the ground and ready for treatment. This is her bedroom where she is having fleas actually on her bed, which I am not going to do a thing about except for have them launder all the bedding and vacuum the mattress, all the seams and everything for some eggs. I'm not going to put any insecticide on a place where someone's going to spend so much time perhaps in their bare skin. Underneath this bed is where the cat also spends a lot of time. That gets treated. You can see perhaps that the bed is angled up. The lady has to sleep at an angle just for her breathing problem. So just a clue that you're not dealing with just a regular customer. You're dealing with somebody who's got some challenges. You want to be careful. Cat spends a lot of time behind this couch, so I've got it pulled out. We're going to treat it. Again, I'm using the Precor 2000 Plus. There's other aerosol and flea products, but man, they smell. And Precor 2000 Plus does as well, but just not as bad. So we're going to go ahead and treat up all under here the way you treat for fleas in a normal job. If the lady were here, I might go ahead and just use the wettable liquid concentrate with my B&G, just because there's going to be no odor. It's going to go down. Simply got to be careful that she doesn't slip and fall. Unfortunately for my client, she has two problems. Fleas, which is not a good thing because of the way we're going to have to treat, so we'll be extra careful there. And she has roaches. Mainly the outdoor domestic roaches. They're outside and they want to come in, but they're just juveniles, little babies, and they're coming in this bathroom and the other bathroom and then kind of wandering out. What I've done is narrowed it down, and I'll show you here. And it's important to try to narrow things down so we don't have to put pesticide just everywhere. What we want to do is target. This light is, there it is. This light right around the edge is where some roaches are coming out. Now what I did is pop that down just a bit, and I was able to sink some dust in there. I'm going to treat the attic as well, but the insulation covers it and protects it, so any roaches underneath of it will simply come out. So I popped that down and dusted it, and lo and behold, don't know if you can see it, but we had a couple of little babies come falling out, so I know I've hit a good spot. Another area was the vent, and this is classic. You'll get wasps, all kinds of things that use the vent if the screen all the way out the attic isn't checked and intact. But what's happening here is right around the edges, just like the light, the roaches are using it and coming out the framework. So it's a kind of an optical illusion. You think they're in the vent, but they're not. So I've dusted up the sides, and again, I'll treat the attic and try to block them off and give them the squeeze play. Number one thing I always do with this lady as a new customer is I find the common denominator. She has roaches, she has fleas. These two big units and this dresser drawer recently came into the house from a, you guessed it, relative, and now she's the storage area. So I treated those really, really well. Got a couple of mud daubers and spiders, but no roaches. All the fans are running, and this is just get the air clear, get everything moving. I got some doors open. We're going to treat and get this place vacated as soon as possible in case she needs to come back sooner than what we had planned. Her oxygen hoses and candelar are all covered up with a nice towel. We don't need anything getting on there, and then when she goes to put it back on, she gets even the smallest minute particles. Don't need that. So you want to do that, make sure everything gets covered up. Oxygen machines turned off. We don't need to be sucking anything in. Again, this isn't going to go back on until we're ready for her to come back into the home and everything is settled down. This area has already been treated. You can see the pet bowl up. The cat spends some time out here. That's all been treated. I'd rather have her launder it, but that was asking a bit too much, so we Precor 2000 where the cat lays, and I took it out and shook them out and sprayed the ground. One area that I'm going to be hitting hard, this is the outside of her bathroom, and this is a deck that gets quite a bit of moisture. 2 and 2 tells you got 4. Well, moisture and harborage, you're going to have some roaches. So I'm going to dust inside the slats, in between each of these slats. With Delta Dust, holds up to a little bit of moisture. Maybe I'll kill some roaches. The eaves looking pretty good repair. The gutters aren't clogged. So again, I'm just trying to narrow it down where these little suckers are coming from and try and solve her problem. Like I said, I've already done the porch out here, and difficult to see with this camera, but I've got several a little bit larger size roaches dead already. So perhaps underneath the threshold, the deck is another possibility. Anytime you're dealing with anybody with an oxygen problem, any kind of medical problem, young kids, you name it, you always want to target your area, target your problem, and get it to the source. Get in there, get it out of there, root it out, whether it's removing some things that were brought in that brought the pests in, or changing something with some caulk, something like that. Reduce your use of insecticides so you don't have any kind of problem. Most insecticides are pretty well tested over and over again in these types of situations and come out with high marks. But at the same time, you want to use common sense. So the areas that you know the folks will never get into, such as the attic and the wall voids and things like that, treat as normal, get in there and push it hard. The areas where they're going to be out and about and frequenting, you want to play it smart, get to the root of the problem, and get it done and out of the way. And then perhaps some outside treatment on a regular basis will be enough to suffice to keep the bugs out. You just got to use your brain and use your training and trust that the way you're going to do it is going to be the safest for the people and get rid of their problem. Hey, this has been Jerry Shapper with PestCemetery.com. Thanks for coming to my blog and reading my work. I do appreciate it. We'll see you.